Welcome to Gossip About Gossip, powered by Hedera Hashgraph. In each episode, we'll cut through the hype of blockchain promises and explore real-world examples of organizations creating the next generation of decentralized applications, which will bring trust back to the internet for us all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Gossip About Gossip, the podcast where we talk about real-world applications of distributed ledger technology. My name is Zenobia Godstock, and I'm the SVP of Communications here at Swirlds Labs, helping to grow the Hedera ecosystem. Today, I have a very special guest on. He is a longtime colleague and friend, Greg Scullard, who is the Executive Director of Developer Advocacy out of the EMEA region for Swirlds Labs. Hi, Greg. How are you?
Hi, Zenobia. I'm really good. I'm looking forward to this.
Good. We have a very exciting topic today. We are talking about the new Stablecoin Studio on the Hedera network. So for those who have not seen the announcement go out, have not seen all of the ecosystem chatting about this, can you tell us what is the Stablecoin Studio?
Sure thing. So it's essentially a project that we've been working on now for close to a year, kind of behind the scenes. And what we're trying to achieve with this is to accelerate adoption of stablecoins on the Hedera network by providing some ready-made components in terms of software that people can try out really quickly. My mantra is minutes and hours, not weeks and months. And if they can achieve a test ride, if we want, of a stablecoin on the Hedera network in that period of time, then hopefully that will encourage them to give it a try and hopefully adopt.
And I do want to spend some time talking about how it works, but you said we early on. I know this has been an effort across the community and across the ecosystem. So can you share some of the partners that are have been instrumental in helping this development come along?
Of course, yes. So we've been working with IO Builders, one of our technical partners. They work across a number of projects, helping deliver those projects on behalf of foundation grantees, association grantees, and they're also working as an extension of my team. We have a small team at IO Builders that have been working on this. So I've kind of given them the direction and the hard work to do, and they've gone and built it for us. And I think, talking broadly, we've also engaged a number of potential stablecoin issuers or players in the space. We've demonstrated beta software to many different people, and we've taken on board their feedback. So it's while it's been kind of behind the scenes, it's been highly collaborative from the point of view that we haven't just done this totally in isolation.
And where did the idea come from that, you could actually, and essentially anyone could actually, mint and create a stable coin, as you said, in, minutes and hours versus days and weeks?
So it really sort of a number of different ideas came about. We had a stablecoin issued by ANZ using smart contracts on the Hedera network approximately 18 months or 2 years ago. And while it's an acceptable way of doing things on the Hedera network, it's really kind of missing one of the key features of the network, which is native tokens. So conversely, we have USDC and XGSD that have deployed stable coins on the Hedera network, respectively USD and Singapore dollars, and they've used a native token service. But the challenge with the native token service, despite all of its flexibility, is that you kind of lose some of the on-chain programmability. So what we've come up with in the studio is a hybrid model where the token itself is native, but a management of the token is through smart contracts. And in many respects, it's a break from the norm. Most people would not be used to this kind of hybrid model. Hedera is probably the only network that can do this. So part of this initiative was to actually provide a reference architecture. This is a how-to, cookbook of how you could build such a hybrid model. And kind of going beyond simply building an example, we've actually gone ahead and built a fully featured, fully functional solution, which in turn, could greatly aid and help adoption, but also get to this accelerated experience in minutes or hours.
So I am, either a financial services institution or I am perhaps a consortia. I'm someone who's interested in, this concept of stablecoins, and I'd like to try it out. What specifically, am I going to benefit by bringing together the Hedera token service with some of the native smart contract functionality?
Sure. So what you get with a native token service is a super efficient, tokenization engine. We can, or rather, Hedera can process 10,000 token transfers a second for a tenth of a US dollar cent per transaction. So, if we imagine a world where stable coins are being used outside of large movements for DeFi or interchain settlements or otherwise, but we start thinking forward in terms of how you and I might use those stable coins to buy a coffee or to purchase some online content, then those low transaction fees and high throughput become an essential feature of a stable coin. You can't have that with smart contracts. The smart contracts are too slow and too cumbersome on any network, yes, absolutely. Even though Hedera smart contracts are faster than most, they still, will not scale to tens of thousands of transactions per second. So that was the first realization. We need something that's far more efficient, and of course, with the native Hedera token service, we have that. But as I said earlier, while we have some controls over a stable coin, namely in terms of who can mint, who can burn, who can provide KYC, who can freeze or wipe or pause the token, those are conditioned by keys, and we can't really provide on-chain governance. We can't really do things like proof of reserve, for example. We can't implement which may not strictly apply to a stable coin, but there are kind of other uses of the studio beyond stable coins, maybe where you may want to build in inflation controls, how fast you're allowed to mint the token. You can, with the native token service and our smart contract layer in the EVM, you can have a smart contract be delegated the minting of a token, for example, and you can then implement inside of a smart contract all of the checks and balances that you want to have, either for proof of reserve or inflation controls or otherwise. So, and it doesn't matter if those operations are slower and slightly more expensive than the native token itself, because you're not expected to be minting as often as people are transferring tokens. So in some respects, the tip of the iceberg, what you see in smart contracts would be the management of the token, and that'd be slow and slightly more expensive compared to the hidden part of the iceberg, which would be really when you and I and others are exchanging these stable coins in a fast and efficient manner.
And, this seems like this has really been sort of the promise of cryptocurrency from day one, that you could conduct these, fast transactions. But, this almost feels like you're taking that next step in terms of really bringing it to a wider audience of people, whether you are a financial institution, a DeFi institution, or, a large entity who says, hey, I would like to, deliver my customers a different kind of experience using stablecoins.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking at some recent numbers, the volume of stablecoins in USD has been increasing steadily over the last 3 years or so. And in terms of pure volume, in 2022, Visa and stablecoins or USD stablecoins are pretty much on par with around 11 trillion exchanged. but Visa exchanged 148 times the number of transactions that occurred on ledgers. So that kind of tells me that, we're processing very large stablecoin transactions on ledgers, some of which maybe even be interledger transfers by some stablecoin issuers. But this doesn't tell me that we're using stablecoins today for day-to-day activities, much like we are using Visa and other card issuers for day-to-day activities. So, like I said, I think as we move towards a world where those stablecoins have more utility, then we should be seeing, many more times the number of transactions that Visa is processing, and maybe even, greater amounts of transfers. Building a solution that can scale to those demands and can offer this capability is pretty unique in our space, I believe.
And can you talk a little bit about some of the partners who are, providing additional sort of supporting services? Because, I think anytime you have a new technology, the technology has to be, best in class, but it also has to have essentially an ecosystem of other things that help sort of complete either the consumer journey or, complete the sort of life cycle of a transaction.
Of course, yes, and this is integral to, or this thought process was integral to what we built and how we thought about the studio. So we started off just building features. What would you need from a stablecoin? How would you want to operate it and manage it? And then we thought, okay, so that solution can't be an island in its own right. Most issuers will be wanting custody provision. They will be wanting to do AML checks and verify. Know your transaction, as it's known, being able to trace who is or which accounts or which addresses are participating in the token and where the funds are going. Then we use smart contracts. So we audited the smart contracts to make sure that what we published and made available was sound and safe. And we also potentially need to monitor the smart contracts. There are tools out there that will monitor the smart contract and look for specific events and alert you to those events so you can take proactive action. And there are many, many more, other participants in the ecosystem that come together, oracles and so on and so forth, that come together to make this not just an island, but really a series of interconnected islands or, pieces that work together towards a solution. So once we had the feature sets, sealed and done, and we were happy that we had enough in there, we focused to this broader ecosystem, and we've built in pre-integration to different mirror nodes. We're building pre-integration to custody providers. And again, this is all about accelerating things. If you're an existing customer of one of the custody providers we integrate with, ideally you want during the setup to be able to say, I use this particular custody provider, input minimal amounts of data, not write any software, and have this integration work out of the box. And this is how we're looking to accelerate really this, minutes and hours from weeks to months. We've taken all of that on board, and we're not done yet. There is some work left to do, but we've already onboarded quite a few partners.
And this will be this is available now. It's open source, Apache 2 license. Anyone can go and test it out, play around with it.
Yes, absolutely. It's in GitHub. It's open source. You can download it, install it, and try it for yourself very quickly with full documentation, both on the Hedera website and inside of the repository itself, with the traditional READMEs that you find in there, with the audit reports for the smart contracts. Everything is there for you to try out a stablecoin on Hedera.
And we did have a few folks who, who got a sneak peek at it. I know we had previously, Shinhan Bank and others had previously shared that they had done an international, POC, proof of concept, on remittances. Can you talk a little bit about how they leveraged the Stablecoin Studio?
Sure thing. So within this this solution or proof of concept that we worked or collaborated on, each of the participants had their own stablecoin. So we used Stablecoin Studio here to deploy 4 separate stablecoins. We also needed a remittance currency, which was a 5th stablecoin, which was common and understood by all those participants. It, for example, could be USDC as a means of exchanging value between those participants. And then again, using smart contracts and the ability for smart contracts to interact with native tokens, thanks to the work that our engineering team has done on this, we're able to, mix and match all of these stable coins into one smart contract that was taking care of exchanging one currency for the remittance token and then exchanging the remittance token for the other currency, thereby affecting the international remittance. It's it was there for them to use, and we used it there.
Fantastic. And Greg, you mentioned there's a little bit more work to do. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience before we wrap up today?
No, I think yes, there is a little bit more work to do. There's always more work to do. But I think I'd like to think that maybe with a little bit of work on your side, not as much as you expect, you'd be able to experience a stablecoin of your own as an issuer on the Hedera network, and see for yourself the efficiency gains that you get with this hybrid model, which I think is unique within our industry, with both a super efficient native token service for day-to-day usage and a highly programmable environment for the management of your stablecoin.
Fantastic. And if folks start playing around with it, they use it and they have questions, where should we send them?
They can reach out to me, Greg at swirldslabs.com, and our entire developer advocacy team is there to help. We also have our partner of choice, IO Builders, who knows the studio inside and out. Just reach out and let us know how we can help you.
All right. Well, Greg, thank you so much. Hopefully the community found this very useful, and we appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. And maybe some other time on some other project.